spring. Anybody spring cleaning or weeding their garden? Yeah, it's that time. And you know, as we get into the springtime, we're wanting to declutter. We want to get rid of all those things that maybe have been sitting in our closet, or maybe that we piled up on the table, finally going through those. You know, we have another hour of sunlight, so that's good. We've been waiting for that. But spring cleaning, that's where we are. You know, we have to do that spring cleaning to make room and make space for peace. And so that means we might have to let go of some things. We did that in our meditation. Some things we may have to release that maybe we don't want to. Maybe we like having it around. That dust. I'll never forget, my mom had a sign growing up. She said, "Don't touch my dust." Yeah. And so, you know, but we get to sweep away or clear the space and decide what must go and what must stay, because there's some things that we really want to have stay in our lives, but there's some things that we need to release. And remember, release is both intentional and spiritual. So we went through the practice, the spiritual practice in meditation, and the intentionality of it is, are you going to follow your own word? I'm going to get rid of this. Then 10 years later, it's still here. So we do that as humans. And how many of us want to finally gain room or space in a room in our house or in our apartment, and you have a clear wall? Okay, this is human nature. All of us have done this. You finally clear space and you have a clear wall or an empty table. And then you go buy something to put there. Right? It's very difficult to leave that space empty, isn't it? Well, that's where we're going today. So when we empty that space, it's not only physical, it's spiritual. Because we do want to make room for peace in our minds. And that's what Lent season is all about too, that release. And so anybody who's followed the Lent, we had the booklets for Lent, it's the release and reimagine. I'm going to tell you one of the things that comes in when we have an empty space is our imagination. And so a little bit about this today is, how do we release that chaos? Well, we need to harness our own imaginations, because when we empty that space and we clear the way, and we are practicing our spiritual practices of meditation and prayer, now we go into the power of imagination, the unseen. And so what it says here in the booklet, if anybody's following it, for today is the third Sunday of Lent, is our imagination is a powerful gift, but when it's misused or it's in the absence of facts and faith, it can become a source of anxiety, fear, and limitation, rather than creativity, healing, or vision. And sometimes we can catastrophize. We can create a catastrophe through our own imagination and envision the worst case scenarios. Anybody do that? Well, there's a lot of news maybe if you're listening, but if you're not, it's still, our imagination can predict disaster, assume failure, or interpret the unknown or the uncertain as danger. And so not always is that the case. Uncertainty is an empty space of creation. And so that is the natural law. We talk about the natural law of allowing. We get to allow for that creative energy to come in. What do they say when we worry and we think the worst is going to happen to our children or our partners, or we fear for our own futures? What happens is we're in pain thinking. Anybody go into pain thinking? Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening to me. That pain thinking, we can be attached to it. But when we empty that space out, now we're allowing for creation to come in And here there's a book from Florence Scovel Shinn called The Game of Life and How to Play It. And in it, he says that the scissors, we have scissors of the mind. We get to cut out what it is that we wish to create. So we must pause before we start snipping away and things that we're going to release and things that we're going to let go of. We must take a breath and turn inward and know the truth, capital T, truth. We must name the fear and check the facts first. No assumptions. Just because someone didn't call you back doesn't mean they don't love you. That fits in perfectly. Just because you haven't heard from somebody in a while doesn't mean they don't love you. Just because you have pain doesn't mean you have a tragic illness. Just because there are changes at work doesn't mean you will lose your job or end up homeless. But our mind can go into that worry. So we get to release that, the creative energy, that creative power we have. We get to use our scissors to cut the mental fabric for something beautiful, or shred what is whole into fearful pieces. So you might take your scissors and cut something up that works perfectly for you. It all depends on how you use your imagination and what it is you wish to create. So what are you creating today with your scissors of imagination? It's a good thought. Is your thought cutting you off from the truth or opening you up to possibilities? Are you shaping your future filled with beauty and wonder, or snipping your ideas into joyful purpose? Are you creating bold dreams, solving problems, and envisioning abundance? Well, Charles Fillmore says, he has an affirmation, with my imagination I lay hold of perfect ideas and clothe them with substance. Yeah. So that is the creation. We take the idea and clothe them into substance. Just think about that. We all have our gifts of what we are to do with our imagination or with our ideas. That idea didn't come to everybody. That idea came to you. And so it's a God-given idea, that inspiration. And if you don't do something with it, somebody else will. Just think if Thomas Edison, I don't know if I said this last week or not. I feel like maybe I dreamt it. I don't know. Thomas Edison spent 90 times inventing the light bulb. Imagine if he got that idea of inspiration that came into his mind and he did nothing with it. But in the collective, everybody was ready for light, especially the lamplighter, right? They were all ready for light. But it was Thomas Edison that took that idea that came forth and didn't give up. Didn't just say, oh, you know what, I'll forget about it. I'm too busy. I need to go over here and light the candles. So that imagination is very powerful. So I'm going to affirm today for all of us, my imagination is the sacred scissors of my mind, a visionary tool for manifesting dreams and healing practice for resilience, and a portal to the divine wisdom. With each thought, I cut patterns of possibility and release fear-filled designs and stitch together a life of joy, faith, and divine purpose. I am the designer of my destiny. I fashion a life of love, boldness, beauty, and blessings. Yes, and so that is in the booklet of the Lent booklet offered by Unity. So I thought that was perfect with the weeding of or with the spring cleaning and talking about the garden, because we get to weed the garden. And sometimes when we're going through this process of release. We're clearing out anything that no longer serves us. And in Hebrews, I have a quote here for us right now. In Hebrews 12:1, it says, "Let us throw off anything that hinders us, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses. Let us lay aside every weight and that which easily entangles us in unhealthy ways." Well, the Bible also goes on to say, let us run with endurance and the race that is set before us. We're going to break that down a little bit, but I did replace one word. The word sin, it says, let us lay aside every weight, that which is easily entangles us in sin. I replaced it with the words in unhealthy ways. A lot of people have religious damage, and I don't want to say the word sin here in unity, but unhealthy ways is a good way to put it, because when we break this quote down, the cloud of witnesses refers to our heroes that have come before us. Who is that hero for you in your life? And perhaps it's Abraham, Moses, David, Jesus, Mary, Joseph. The cloud of witnesses before us, and before the witnesses that have taken the path of faith, which isn't always the easy path. The walk of faith is unseen, sometimes feeling like there's an empty space of the unseen. But the longer we follow it, the unseen becomes what we see. And then throwing off hindrances is a call to remove any distraction or burden or any unhealthy habits that impede our spiritual progress. And so let me read that one again. Let us throw off anything that hinders us. And endurance, to run, perseverance, to run the often difficult path with faith and focus. And that endurance takes us to the race that's set before us. Now, the race doesn't mean something that we're out to win. The race doesn't mean that there's a winner and there's losers and you have to finish first. The race isn't about winning, it's about the whole messy, beautiful journey. And that's the human race. The God-given journey that we are all on right now. And it's the metaphor for us to actively pursue God's purpose and a life of faith. So we do that, and as we do that, in Ephesians 4, it says one body. It stands for one body, one spirit, one family, and one life. Remember, goodness comes from people. It comes from each other. And the walk of faith, again, is not seen. It's something entrusting the unseen. Goodness comes from people. Goodness does not come from rules. We might say, oh, we need more rules. In today's world, we might say, oh, we need to force these people to be more accountable. Well, in a society of today, we have a world of rules. And how's that working? So remember, God's rule, or the law of nature, or we can call it the universal laws of nature, those are the ultimate and the most high. So there's a big argument out there right now about secular rules versus non-secular rules, and which one has more limitations. Secular means non-religious. So secular rules, some people argue, especially in the day and age of AI, there's a lot of talk going on how we're programming AI to be moral, because that's a big factor, is morality in our own human race as well. But we ultimately want a unity consciousness. So how do we provide that unity consciousness? Well, we have to release any of the beliefs that we had that things have to be a certain way. That's a limited belief. Things have to be my way or a certain way. But we do want behaviors to be a certain way, and behaviors to be fair and just, that we get along and we don't harm another, that we share our resources fairly. And what's impressive is the Gen Z who know this sustainability in our world. The rules didn't vanish, they just got buried and became acceptable. Favors, money, and apathy became acceptable. But we want a unity consciousness, so we have to weed the garden. We have to produce the harvest that's meant for us. We have to weed the garden, and that includes our thoughts, our thinking, and how are we treating each other? What are we saying and what are we doing, and do they match up? The kingdom of heaven is within you. So how do you weed your garden? Well, you gain a routine of spiritual practices. You probably have a morning routine. Most of us have a morning routine. So we say our gratitudes in the morning, we get up and stretch. We say our prayers, and we are mindful of what we bring into our bodies. Not only the food, the drink, but also the thoughts and the medications. I went to the vitamin shop and got more vitamins this weekend, and I filled my shelf. I'm like, oh my gosh, this one says take 8. Take 8 pills of one vitamin. Just eat more broccoli. So I actually, another thing I did this weekend is I went to an estate sale. And the estate sale, the gentleman had plants, little plants that were about this big, and they were selling them for $1 a piece. So I went ahead and got 10 of them, and I filled them, put them in my car. And as I was getting ready to leave, he said, oh, wait a minute. I want to give you this one. And it was a large pot. And he said, this is a desert rose. It's really special. I'm going to give you this beautiful desert rose. It's going to bloom a large white bloom. And that's what I said. I said, oh, wow, this is so great. How majestic, this desert rose. And you know, I have family in Arizona, right? So that was, I'll have a desert rose here in Florida. So I put, it was so heavy, I had to get somebody else to help him put it in the car. And so I took them home, and I got all the plants out. I took the little plants and repotted them, but I had the big pot sitting there, and I thought the ride just moved the plants, woke them up a little bit, because I saw the dirt moving in the desert rose. So I went a little closer. I took a closer look. I noticed. What is that? And so there it was. I had disturbed a nest of ants. Little red one, the little red ants. And so I decided I wasn't going to bring it into my house, and I let it sit for a while, about 48 hours. And the HOA yelled at me after 12 hours. That was too long for it to sit there. But life is like that. We have to make the decisions of what to let go of. I actually wanted to keep it. I wanted to repot it. But you know, there were too many ants. And so we do that in life when we're releasing. There's some things that might seem so special to us, but they don't, it might be like poison. It's been around so long. And so it's time to let things go, and that might be the old belief systems that we were referring to. So what we get to speak into existence today is we get to speak into existence, I wish to create peace. And I want to carve out space for peace today. I'll tell you, if I would have brought that plant in my house, there would not have been peace. So we gather today, and in our healing circle today at noon, our meditation time, to practice these spiritual practices, a communion with the divine, the all-knowing, the all-seeing eye, that which is God. And so I'm going to say another verse in Psalm 139:23. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. and see if there are any offensive ways in me, and lead me in the way. And this is the guidance that we ask for and we bring in as we go along our day. I have an affirmation for all of us, and the affirmation is, I release what no longer aligns with who God is shaping me to be. You ready? I release what no longer aligns with who God is shaping me to be. And so let's say a prayer. God, thank you for God, universe, Mother, Father, God, the cosmos, our higher power. We are grateful today to know you more, to know the power of goodness in our lives, and to bring that forth through the season of release and reimagine as we bring in the power of imagination and the power of goodness. We release anything that may be hurtful to ourselves or to others, and we open to this purification of the empty spaces. Purification can happen through our prayer, our meditation. And thank you for this opportunity to connect today more and more with you, with the divine.